Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I want to do something like a monthly check-in on how my goals are doing, how my budget is doing, and also share some favorites from the month. Some of you might remember that I used to do a Substack every month where I talk about how my month's budget had gone and then I plan for the new month's budget. And I stopped sometime in August, I think, last year because I felt like it was getting a bit too repetitive because my budget was always kind of similar. But I do kind of miss making those check-ins, so I thought I would restart the series on my channel and I would also incorporate other things like checking in on how my personal goals are going and also any favorites from the month that I want to share. It used to be called my money diaries for Substack, but I think for YouTube I might call it just a monthly check-in because I'm checking in more than just how my budget has gone. And yeah, that is the plan for today's video. It'll just be a quick one and I hope I can do this every single month just to make sure that I stay accountable to the goals that I had set out for myself. And maybe this video can also inspire you to also check in on your finances at the end of every month, or just get yourself excited for the new month. I have my goals written out just to remind myself what they are on my laptop here. If you haven't seen my 2025 money goals video, I'll link it in the description below, but I talked about all these goals in that video and I'll just go through some of them. And we'll start with, I guess, my soft money goals. I outlined two in that video. The first one is to improve my relationship with consumerism and the second is to prioritize value over price. I think I've kept this in mind pretty well this month. So I don't have the Shopee app on my phone unless I am actively looking for something. So one of the things that I was looking for this month was a replacement for my umbrella. If you've seen my What's in My Bag video, I talked about an umbrella that I always carry in my bag and how I'm looking to replace it because it's not very good quality and I think it's gonna break soon because I'm already having trouble opening it. I've been looking around for an umbrella that is light, has UV protection, and has a big canopy, which is a lot harder than it sounds to find because usually with a large canopy you can't get it to be light, and then on top of that adding UV protection adds bulk to the material as well. So I've been looking around Planet Traveler and a few of you have recommended some brands as well, so I've been looking them up. The problem is the height of my bag is quite short. I think it's only 22 cm and typically most umbrellas are about 25 cm, so it's been quite challenging to find a small umbrella that also has a big-ish canopy. I think I have found one, but it's still on its way here, so I can't review it yet. But other than the umbrella, I think I've been really mindful about what I've been purchasing, and I'll talk more in detail when I go through my budget, but I think I've been quite intentional with these goals, so I hope to continue in February as well. Okay, next is my personal goals. I listed out 3 the last time. My first one is health and fitness related, and that is to go to the gym twice a week. I forgot to add that alongside going to the gym twice a week, I'm also doing yoga twice a week, so that's 4 days out of the week that I'm exercising. So this goal, I think I would say I'm still on track because I go at least twice a week for the gym. Yoga is where I've struggled a bit. I think I've only managed about once a week because there were a couple weeks earlier in this month where it was raining really heavily. It was the monsoon surge, if you remember. So walking to the studio was a problem because I would have to walk through the rain. And I've missed a couple lessons because of that because I just didn't want to walk through the rain. But I've made an effort to go to the gym, and instead of splitting cardio and strength training on each session, I try to do 20 minutes of cardio on the treadmill and then I go and do 2 machines. So I combine both cardio and strength training. I can only manage 2 machines because I get bored really quickly, and also it's just not a place that I want to just hang out for fun. I'd rather just do my thing and then get out. And doing 2 machines means that I can be in and out of the gym in about 45 minutes to 1 hour and then move on with the rest of my day. So this is still a very new goal to me and something that I'm working on. I've talked to some friends about it and I might ask for their help to teach me how to use more machines or how to use the free weights because I have not touched the free weights at all since I started going to the gym last October. All I've been doing is the treadmill and the few machines that I like doing. But overall, I'm quite proud of myself. I tried to remind myself that it's not about being so strict with my goal, it's more about consistency and making the effort. And a year from now, I won't really remember if I went twice a week every week, but what matters is that I'm consistently going. So, I feel like I should be proud of myself for committing to this goal and making the effort and time to do it. There's something I'm considering though, and maybe you can give me some advice, but my yoga membership ends in a few months, and when I started going to the gym this year, I was thinking that I like having the balance of yoga and going to the gym, and so I thought I would just renew my membership once it ended. But then I was thinking, should I just stop my membership, which is quite expensive. It's on average about $100 a month. So I was thinking, should I stop my membership and just commit to going to the gym 4 times a week rather than split it 2 times gym, 2 times yoga, and get good with understanding how to use the machines, building strength in the muscles that I want to build strength in, and then go back to yoga once I have that sorted. My consideration was actually the cost, because with yoga I say it's about $100 a month, but I actually pay up front for the membership and then I slowly pay myself back every month at $100. I mentioned it in more detail in, I think, my goals video. It's just a bit painful to think about having to pay another $800 up front for the yoga membership, and then I also feel trapped in that membership and make sure that I don't waste any of my classes before my membership ends. This is not unique to my yoga studio. I think most yoga studios and most private gyms operate in this way. But with my Active SG gym, it's at most $30 a month if I get the monthly pass. So for cost reasons, and also because I don't want to feel stuck with a membership, I'm considering stopping it. But at the same time, every time I go for yoga, especially when it's an instructor that I like and it's a relatively chill class, I really enjoy myself. So I don't know, I wish that there is a more flexible option for yoga. I know there is ClassPass, but ClassPass, I've used ClassPass before, that's how I discovered my current studio. But if I get a ClassPass, I'm paying almost $50 a class, which is not worth it, because right now with my current plan, each class is about $14 for me if I do the math. I don't know, it's a dilemma. I still have a couple months to think about it, but that's something that I'm seriously considering. And I don't want to lose the flexibility that I've gained from yoga also. I mean, I'm not the most flexible person, but I'm definitely more flexible now than I was before I started. And it feels like it would be a waste to lose that if I stop going for yoga and I stop that habit of stretching. And I'm not really the kind to do yoga at home. I'm not really the kind to exercise at home. I don't really like it. I prefer going to a dedicated place where I can exercise and sweat and then come home and then bathe and be clean. I don't want to sweat in my own home. But that's just me, and I'll have to rethink it. But anyway, so that is how that goal is going. And let's move on to the second goal, which is becoming a morning person. So yes, this is a goal that I've wanted to work on for the longest time, and I think this year is when I've seriously started putting it into practice. Okay, I have a habit tracker on my phone. Let me see how many times I actually woke up at 6:30 a.m. According to my habit tracker app, I've woken up before 6:30 a.m. 7 times this month, which sounds little, but I actually woke up around maybe 7 most of the month, and that includes weekends as well. So even when I don't have work, I try to wake up earlier. If anything, this month has just shown me how important it is that I work on the sleeping early part as well, because I can wake up at 6:30 a.m. but I can only sustain it for so long before eventually I will start sleeping in, because I'm just not getting enough sleep in the earlier part of the week. So usually Monday mornings I'm the most motivated and excited to start waking up early, and then by Friday I'm really sleep deprived, and then I'll have to take afternoon naps, or I will end up waking up at 7:30, 8 a.m. But to really commit to wanting to be a morning person and wake up earlier so that I can do more things in the day, I will need to sleep earlier. This month I've been sleeping my usual timings, which is earliest 11:30, the latest is about 1 a.m, which is still better than some days last year where I would sometimes sleep at 2 a.m. So at least I'm not going beyond 1 a.m. But for February, I I might have to be more disciplined with myself and try to be ready to go to sleep by 10:45 so that I can hopefully fall asleep by 11:30. That's the goal. I had sub-points to this goal as well. I figured that to be able to sleep early, that also means adjusting my social events to end earlier and also being more discerning about the social events that I choose to accept. Although I'm slightly worried that I'm going to become a bit reclusive if I keep saying no. Yeah, for this goal, it's definitely a big life adjustment to make, so I think I have to strike a balance so that I don't sacrifice too much of one thing. One thing that I got that has really helped with this goal is my sunrise alarm clock. If you can see in the background, I have it lit to the smallest light setting. I don't know if you've heard of a sunrise alarm clock, but the function of it is to light up about half an hour before your alarm rings so that it gently wakes you up. It's supposed to mimic a sunrise basically. And I could technically just open my windows, but honestly I cannot sleep with my windows open. And I've thought about getting a sunrise alarm clock for the longest time, but I wasn't sure about the quality and how reliable it's gonna be because there are some really cheap ones on Shopee, but some also really expensive branded ones. But I got this very popular one on Shopee and it's worked out really great. It's actually one of my favorites and I'll talk more about it later. But getting that alarm clock has really helped because it helps me wake up earlier. It doesn't help me sleep earlier, but at least it helps with the first half of this goal. Okay, my last personal goal. I wanted to rebrand this YouTube channel and make more videos for fun. And the sub-goals for this are to work on my perfectionist tendencies and to also improve my public speaking skills. So good news, I've been really having fun making these videos. I'm not too sure about my public speaking skills specifically, but it's for sure testing the limits of my anti-perfectionist goal because every time I go back to edit the video, I'm always so upset at myself for saying something wrong or wishing I had said something else or wishing that I had just said it better. But at the end of the day, it's a bit like talking to a friend, right? You can't go back and unsay what you said, or you can't go back to change how you say it. So you just have to accept that you said it in that way and maybe it was meant to be said in that way. That's actually something that somebody told me during my very first podcast and it's always stuck with me. So yes, it's really testing my perfectionism or my desire to be less perfectionist. And I hope that I'll get more comfortable being okay with it never being perfect or never the way I want it to be. But other than that, I'm really glad that a lot of you have been liking my videos. It really means a lot. Thank you for watching, for liking, for commenting. It really makes my day when I see a nice comment. So thank you so much. I'll do my best to keep making videos, and I know the most sustainable way for me to keep doing this is if I enjoy the process also. So that's what I'm trying to do. With making videos for YouTube, I'm slowly figuring out my workflow, and what I find most helpful is to film videos in advance. So for instance, I'll film 2 videos a week, and that will give me enough backlog to publish every week, even if there are some weeks that I'm unable to film. So I'm not filming and editing within a week of that video publishing. I'm trying to create a backlog. I think that'll be the best way to make sure that I'm at least consistent in posting once a week. I'm telling myself that I'll do this for 6 months and we'll see how I want to continue from there, just to give myself a deadline. So at the end of 6 months, I'll reassess if this is something that I truly enjoy and want to continue. I think the thought of it being forever is just unsustainable. So that's what I tell myself. Alright, so those are the updates on my 3 goals. Let's talk about my monthly budget, which will be quite fast, hopefully. By the way, if you need more context for this section, I recommend watching my 2025 budget video first. For this section, I won't be showing my entire sheet, I'll just be highlighting some specific line items that I'll be making changes to. First, let's reflect on how the month's spending has gone. I know it's only 26 January, so there is still 5 days of the month left, but generally I think I have a good sense of how the month has gone. I was planning this video earlier, so I wrote down some points that I think are noteworthy to highlight in this video. Generally, I think I'm within budget, but for household spending, I might go a bit over, not because of my food and drink spending. That one is actually quite okay, but I did make quite a big order on Watsons because there was a hair care, there was a 30% off hair care sale, and so I stocked up on my staple shampoo and conditioner that I really like. I'm not really one to try different shampoo and conditioner, so if there's a sale, I will stock up on the ones that I like and then try to not have to buy it for the next 6 months. So I stocked up on that, and then I also had to replace my toilet lights. So the lights in my toilet, a few of the bulbs blew last year, and I only got it recently fixed because I was just delaying it for a long time. So to replace the toilet lights and for the manpower costs, it was in total about $150. Which is fine because I wouldn't want to do it myself. I'd rather somebody come and help me replace the lights. So other than those two big expenses for household spending, everything else is quite okay. For my sinking fund, which is just like my fun spending, I did burst my budget quite a bit, but I think I can justify these purchases pretty well, and they were quite thoughtful and intentional, so I don't feel too bad about busting my budget because I can still use my medium-term sinking fund to cover the costs. And the things that I did get were quality of life upgrades, so I'm really glad that I got those things. One of them being my new bed sheets. So I've been looking for bed sheets for the longest time because the ones that I had were just really scratchy and uncomfortable, but I've just lived with them for a really long time because I didn't know any good brands that I could trust, and I didn't want to waste money buying sheets that I only end up not liking. But recently my friend came over and I was asking her if she knew any good brands to recommend, and she recommended Sojao, and she's been using their sheets for a while, so I just decided to try one sheet because it's very expensive. I think just one fitted sheet for a super single is $100. But since she recommended it and it's something that I don't mind splurging on, I tried just one and I really like it. So I might have to save up to get another sheet because it's nice to have a pair so that when one is washing you can use the other one. And if I have extra money to spare, I might also just get the pillowcase and the duvet cover, but I don't think I can spend on the whole set at one go because it's really expensive. But yeah, if you're looking for good sheets and you have a bigger budget, Sojao is really good. Then I also got a new set of pajamas because I've been wearing really crappy long t-shirts as my pajamas for the past since I moved here, and they are getting very ratty. So I decided to find some new pajamas, and I've been really loving having new pajamas to sleep in. And the last thing is my umbrella, which is pending for review because it's not here yet. Oh, and another thing though, turns out I still have USave vouchers for January. I didn't take that into account when I was coming up with my January budget, but it can cover my electricity bill, which I did budget for. So technically that money that I put aside for electricity, I can redirect to either my household spending or my sinking fund. Okay, the final thing I want to cover for January is that I want to just briefly mention some extra income that I got from the month of January. This extra income is usually from bank interest, from any credit card cashback, from this month I got dividend payouts from my investments, and also Carousel because sometimes I do make sales on Carousel. So in total from all those things I got an extra $242. Usually for extra income I don't consider it in the next month's monthly budget, so I just reallocate the money directly at the end of the month. So I don't formally assign a percentage to different funds or anything. But with this $242, I think I'm gonna put $150 towards investments and the remaining, which is about $92, towards my sinking fund. And that's about it for my January budget. So for my February budget, not many changes I think for February. One thing is that I should have enough USave vouchers left over from this month to cover my water and gas and probably half my electricity bill for February. So for February I shall just budget $50 for my electricity. And because of that, it gives me an extra $100 to work with. So I shall split $50 for my holiday fund and my family fund. So that's the main change for February's budget. Everything else is the same. Alright, finally, I want to talk about my favorites. I mentioned a couple already while I was discussing everything else, but the first one is my bed sheets. Highly recommend. We'll probably get one more in February. They have a lot of different colors, but I like white because it reminds me of a hotel room, and I love having the hotel room vibes in my house. The second thing that I really enjoy is the sunrise alarm clock, which is also on my bed in the background. I'll link the exact listing I bought it from in the description below. But what I really like about it is that it will slowly light up about 30 minutes before your alarm rings. So for me, I set it to ring at 6 a.m. because 6 a.m. is actually my goal waking up time, and it will start to slowly light up from 5:30. And that's how it gently wakes you up, so that by the time your alarm rings, you're not jolted awake from the alarm, but you're already like somewhat half awake because of the light. And when it's not an alarm clock, it can also be used as a lamp, which is what I'm doing right now. So this is the lowest setting, then there is also a second and third level of brightness. I really hope it lasts, because the thing with buying cheaper electronics is that sometimes you have no assurance of how long it will last, so we'll update again, but for now I really enjoy it. And it's also a good reading lamp, because previously I didn't have a light source in that section, and so it's very hard for me to read physical books at night because I only have a big lamp at the foot of my bed. But the sunrise lamp helps to illuminate my book so that I can read at night if I want to read. Which brings me to my next category of favorites, and that is my favorite books that I read this month. So typically I read on the train to work. I don't really have much time to read in the rest of the day. But the two books that I read this month, I really enjoyed. So the first one is called I Decided to Live As Me by Suhyun. I don't have the book with me because I actually bought it as a gift, as a Christmas gift for a friend. And because I wasn't meeting her anytime soon, I just read the book first. I think it's a great book to gift someone because it's not too difficult a read. And it's more like little vignettes of reflections. So very short chapters, and there are illustrations as well. I'm not really sure how to give a book review, but I really liked it because the author made an effort to connect her reflections with like a wider social perspective, because she's based in Korea, she's Korean, and so she talks a lot about Korean society and why certain characteristics of Korean society may result in a certain way of thinking and a certain dysfunctional way of thinking that is more unhelpful than anything to the individual, and how she tries to unpack that and reverse that. And the point of the book is that she wants to live her true authentic life based on her own values. And so I really resonated with that message, and it was very easy to get through as well. I'm half considering getting the book for myself just to have my own copy to read whenever I want to. I like doing that with books, so I prefer to borrow books to read first, and then if I really enjoy it and I want to have a physical copy of it for myself, then I'll buy the book. So I'm considering getting the physical book for myself because it was ultimately a gift from my friend. So if you have a friend, or if you yourself need that kind of reminder about how to be less anxious about life and how to not overthink as much, I really recommend the book. Then the second book I read is this one, Mind Your Manners by Sara. You might have seen this book in my What's in My Bag video because I was currently reading it, and then I finally finished it over the weekend. So this book, if you don't know this lady, Sara, she did a Netflix series called Mind Your Manners. It's the name of this book as well. And it was a really great Netflix reality show series. I watched it, I think last year, or was it 2 years ago? And I loved her as a host. I thought she was really funny. She's also really pretty, and she speaks really well. So when I found out that she wrote a book, I went to find it in the library immediately. Should I hold up the book to show you? One thing I really appreciate about the book is her writing style. She's really funny and witty, but at the same time, she also delivers hard truths in a way that's just entertaining to read. I feel like modern etiquette is, maybe it's just my personal interest in trying to understand social behavior and at the same time also improve my own social behavior. I feel like I've not been blessed with natural social graces, and especially after the pandemic, after the lockdown. I remember coming out of the lockdown and thinking to myself that I had no idea. I had forgotten everything about interacting with people and how to be considerate and look out for others. And I feel like I haven't really learned that from other people as well. So over the last few years, I've been really interested in reading books about social etiquette and how to be more considerate for other people. There's a really good one that I read last year that I couldn't stop talking about, and that is The Power of Nunchi by Euny, I believe. That is also a really good book, but I didn't read that this month, so it's not in this month's favorites, but it was definitely in December's favorites. So I highly recommend reading that as well. But that is slightly different to just like plain old etiquette, which is what this book is about. I don't think I'm really reviewing this book very well, but if you are interested in this topic, I highly recommend reading this one. I think it's quite different from the other etiquette books that I've read, because this one deals more with social interactions. The other etiquette books I've read are a bit more superficial in that they talk about grooming and table manners and stuff, which I just breeze through. But this one is more about how to improve your relationships with people. I do want to make more book reviews type of videos, but clearly I need to improve on how I talk about a book. So maybe someday. Okay, another thing on my favorites list is actually making videos for YouTube. I think I've been having a lot of fun with it this month, and I'm excited to share the videos that I filmed. So I think that's a good sign if I'm feeling excited and happy about this hobby, because that means that I have that intrinsic motivation to continue. So again, thank you for watching, and if you have any video ideas that you would like to see from me, also let me know. I'm just curious to see what you as my audience, as my viewer, want to see from me. You can suggest both personal finance and I guess these more lifestyle type of videos, just let me know. And the final one is a bit of a random favorite, but I think it bears mentioning, if only to remind myself that this used to help me a lot, is writing my to-do list on a physical notebook. So I got this from Muji, I think last year on impulse, and I thought it was a really good size just to have in my bag in case I wanted to write any notes on a notebook and not just on my phone. But what I've actually been using it for is writing my to-do list every single morning. So every morning before or after I journal and while I'm having coffee, I'll just write the date and a list of the things that I would like to finish or get done on that day. And it's just very satisfying to strike things off once I'm done and just have a fresh start every day with a new set of to-do lists. I mean, of course I can do this on my phone, but on my phone there are a lot of random outstanding tasks that don't necessarily have to get done on that day. Like I have my groceries list on as one of my reminders. But with this, I feel like it's a more clear, having this notebook is a more clear way to see what I want to get done for the day. So for future Lisa, this is a really good productivity tip for yourself in case you ever find yourself lost and overwhelmed. And that is the end of my very rambly January check-in. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for all your support, and I hope to do this again next month. If it's helpful, let me know. Please check out the books that I mentioned. I highly recommend them. And also, I hope you are also on track with your budget and that you are making progress towards your goals. All that said, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!